Welcome, everyone.
Good morning.
Good evening. Good evening. So thank you for coming today to honor the legacy of Mary Burnett Talbert, born here and who fought for equal rights, voting rights, even as those movements often undermined and betrayed their own causes by not championing Black women like herself. So it means a lot for everyone here to be participating in this, especially our youngest visitors here, who also helped set up. My name is Liz Schultz, and I'm the director of the Oberlin Heritage Center, and it is my honor to welcome you and convey some special thanks before we get to other presenters. After me will be Jordan Sadler, who is the current president of the Oberlin African American Genealogy and History Group, who will be sharing some history of Mary Burnett Talbert. And then remarks from Claudia Jones, who is representing the newly merged NCWHS Metro Central Unit. And sorry, we're going to get traffic once in a while. So thank you for being good sports about being outside for everyone's safety today. And then we will have remarks from Council Member and Mayor Linda Slocum of the City of Oberlin. And I lost track of where you are. All right, thank you. And then we will just walk up the block here. It's within a block. The marker itself is right on South Main Street, and it will be unveiled by Claudia Jones. And those of you who are interested, I welcome you all back to enjoy lemonade. The Girl Scouts will be helping serve, and we hope you can stay for fellowship and refreshments. Did want to acknowledge some guests who are with us today, including City Council members, including Elizabeth Meadows. Yes, thank you. Kristen Peterson, back there. Ray English. Did I miss any other council members? Or council members as well. And city employees, I'm not sure if Carrie Handy made it out. Director, yes, there you go. Director of Planning and Development. Karen Goff, who is new to Oberlin College. Welcome, Karen. Thank you so much for coming. Carrie Broom of the Lorain County Historical Society. All right, way in back there. Thank you for coming. And did I miss anyone else who would like to be acknowledged? All right. Well, everyone else too. Many of you are part of these organizations, all of the collaborating organizations, and thank you all for coming and being here today. I did want to explain just a few things that you might see a lot of white, purple, and gold. And those were colors of the suffrage movement. I also had to say that the tree that is no longer there was already slated to be removed, not related to the marker, and it will be replaced in the future too. And I feel like I have to say, if they had given us a chance, the marker would be much bigger and have much more text on it. But we had to work within the confines. But if you would like to learn any more, we also have information up front. And as I said, Jordan will be sharing history of Mary Burnett Talbert as well. I do want to give particular thanks to the sponsors who collaborated on this initiative to bring a marker to Oberlin. The Heritage Center was one of those. Also the Oberlin African American Genealogy and History Group. The president at the time of nomination was Anissa Wyman, and she's not able to be with us here this afternoon, but we do have current president Jordan Sadler. And the NAACP Oberlin unit was part of the nominating sponsors, but they are in the process of merging with other units. The City of Oberlin as well, including Rob Hillard, City Council, Carrie Handy, Jeff Bauman, and the Buildings and Grounds crew who installed the marker and unfortunately weren't able to make it today, but we owe them all thanks. As well as the National Votes for Women Trail, which is a special project of the National Collaborative for Women's History Sites. And the funding was received from the William G. Pomeroy Foundation. So it was wonderful to have their financial support to actually have the marker forged, and as well as the city's financial support for installing it. Special thanks go to Katrina Walker, who was an AmeriCorps member serving with the Heritage Center, and she is the one who really gathered a lot of this research to submit it and have the nomination accepted. Thanks also to the Oberlin College Archives for documenting and caring for so much of the community's history, including remarks by Mary Burnett Talbert, CAVA and the New Union Center of the Arts for allowing us to use their lawn and safely welcome everyone here today, and for their electricity. The Oberlin Business Partnership for the sound system, Madeline Scott of the Afro-Historical Association and Buffalo branch of the NCWHS for sharing some of their nomination materials with us, and also Girl Scout Troop 50349. So let's give them a hand for helping set up today. And to end my remarks, I'm going to read a special letter from the William G. Pomeroy Foundation that they were not able to be here, but they wanted to share some news with you, and then I will turn things over to Jordan. On behalf of the William G. Pomeroy Foundation, we send you our best wishes from Syracuse, New York, as you commemorate trailblazing women's suffrage and civil rights leader Mary Burnett Talbert with this National Votes for Women trail marker. At the Pomeroy Foundation, one of our main initiatives is to help people celebrate their community's history. Since 2006, when my father, and this is from Darren Pomeroy, when my father, Bill Pomeroy, established the Foundation's first marker, we have awarded more than 1,500 grants for roadside markers and plaques nationwide. We feel strongly that markers help educate the public, encourage pride in place, and promote historic tourism. Today you commemorate Mary Talbert, an Oberlin graduate who led the National Association of Colored Women, for her significant contributions to the women's suffrage movement with this National Votes for Women trail marker. Now the City of Oberlin joins a select group from across the United States with Pomeroy Foundation funded markers. These markers are well researched with primary sources reviewed by professional historians. That is what sets your marker apart and makes it the gold standard of historic markers. The Pomeroy Foundation is proud to do our part in commemorating the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment by funding these wonderful National Votes for Women trail markers across the country. You can learn more about the Foundation marker program on their website. We commend your efforts to celebrate women's suffrage history and send our appreciation to the City of Oberlin, the Oberlin Heritage Center, Oberlin African American Genealogy and History Group, NAACP Metro Central Unit 3183, our National Votes for Women Trail partner, the National Collaborative for Women's History Sites, and all those involved in obtaining this marker. The Foundation is proud to help you preserve the legacy of women's suffrage in Ohio. We know that this marker will ensure that Mary Talbert's contributions will be celebrated for generations to come. From all of our dedicated staff and trustees at the Pomeroy Foundation, congratulations and warm regards. That was very nice of them to send their remarks, and I again thank you all for being here to be part of history and continuing to celebrate Mary Burnett Talbert's legacy. So I'll now turn things over to Jordan Sadler, President of the Oberlin African American Genealogy and History Group.
I have my speech on my phone out. My name is Jordan Sadler. I'm currently the President and Student Liaison of Oberlin African American Genealogy and History Group. And I will be chronicling just a little bit of Mary Burnett's history. And as a future aspiring educator, I do encourage all of you to, after this, do your own research into her history, her life, because it's very important. I can't do her justice just in this one little speech. So, Mary Burnett Talbert was an exceptional political activist who served as an inspiration to Oberlin citizens and especially Black women at both the Oberlin College and Oberlin the town. Talbert was born to Cornelius and Caroline Burnett, who was born of free parents in Fayetteville in 1813. And her father had served in the Revolutionary War. Caroline Nichols was also born in North Carolina around 1830, and the couple had married in 1849. After working in Chapel Hill, Cornelius and Caroline came back to Oberlin in 1816 and bought property on the east side of Main Street, right near where the Black River Cafe used to be. The Civil War really disrupted the plans, and the family was not able to move here until 1865. Mary Burnett was born September 17th, 1866, and was the 9th of 10 children. She graduated from high school in 1883, which later became the New Union Center for the Arts, where we are now. She then graduated from the literary course of Oberlin College in 1886. She taught in Little Rock, Arkansas, and Bethel University. She was appointed the first female assistant principal of Union High School there. Later, around 1891, she married real estate developer William H. Talbert and moved to his home in Buffalo, New York. Together they had one daughter, Sarah May, who is also an Oberlin alumni. She was a founding member of Buffalo's Phyllis Whitley Club. In 1905, she hosted guests including W.E.B. Du Bois in her Buffalo home due to racist venues that would not host Black meetings or conferences. That home meeting was later seen as the beginning of the Niagara Movement, an organization for Black intellectuals that demanded civil rights for Black people. And I also encourage you to do further research into the Niagara Movement, very important. The movement hosted their 1908 meeting in Oberlin. She served 4 years as president of the National Association of Colored Women's Clubs from 1916 to 1920, and was a delegate in the 1920 International Council of Women in Norway. She died in 1923, as she was also the vice president of the NAACP when she died. She has served as the chair of the anti-lynching campaign, striving to protect access to voting as well. The year before her death, she was awarded the NAACP's Spingarn Medal, the highest award given by the organization, and she was the first woman to receive it. I want to finish with this 1950 quote by Talbert. "It should not be necessary to struggle forever against popular prejudice, and with us as colored women, the struggle becomes twofold. First, because we are women, and second, because we are colored women. Although some resistance is experienced in portions of our country against the ballot for women, I firmly believe that enlightened men are now numerous enough everywhere to encourage this just privilege of the ballot for women, ignoring prejudice of all kinds. By her peculiar position, the colored woman has gained clear powers of observation and judgment, exactly the sort of powers which are today peculiarly necessary to the building of an ideal country." Thank you.
As Liz said, I'm Claudia Jones, and I'm here representing the NAACP. The story of Mary Burnett Talbert's life, I believe, is truly one of vision, concern for the well-being of others, as well as dedication to pursue what she believed was right and just. Since I am representing the NAACP, I want to speak to the Spingarn Medal that was awarded to Mary Burnett Talbert. The Spingarn Medal is awarded annually by the NAACP for outstanding achievement by an African American. The award was created in 1914 by Joel Elias Spingarn, who was one of the founding members of the NAACP, its second president and board member for many years. The award has a twofold purpose. One is to draw the attention to the public, to the general public, of the achievements of African Americans, and the other is to stimulate the ambition of African American youth. The first Spin Garn Medal was awarded in 1915, and Mary Burnett Talbert received the Spin Garn Award in 1922, the first woman to be so honored. It would be my guess that the NAACP honored her with this award because in 1905, Mrs. Talbert hosted a group of prominent black intellectuals in her home who wanted to form an organization for calling for civil rights and political rights for African Americans. Since they met in Buffalo, the group titled its work the Niagara Movement. The Niagara Movement is believed to have served as a forerunner to the NAACP and the Civil Rights Movement. Interestingly, as Jordan pointed out, the Niagara Movement held its last meeting in Oberlin in 1908. In 1909, the NAACP was formed. In 1910, the first office was established in New York City, and Mrs. Talbert's name is listed among the early members of the NAACP. Thanks to Mary Burnett Talbert, women are getting a voice. In the National Women's Hall of Fame, she is listed as a civil rights and anti-lynching activist, a suffragist, a preservationist, an international human rights proponent, as well as an educator. The example set by Mary Burnett Talbert can carry over into our lives today. She is certainly one we can hold up as an example for ourselves as we look around and see issues to which we can lend our voices and hands. The struggle for gender equality goes on, as well as protecting voting rights for all. On a personal note, I am heartened as I look around and see Girl Scouts here. I have many years of scouting among the fond memories of my coming of age in Oberlin, as well as several years on the governing board of Girl Scouts of Northeast Ohio. During that time, we coined the motto of building girls of courage, confidence, and character. And I'm sure you've heard that more than once. Hoping that they would become the next generation of leaders who will be the problem solvers. There may be other Mary Burnett Talberts among them who have dreams and convictions to make the world and Oberlin a better place. So as we have learned more about Mary Burnett Talbert, that she grew up in Oberlin, graduated from Oberlin College, started women's organizations, taught school, advocated for many issues, and was instrumental in the beginnings of the NAACP. It's easy to understand why Oberlin should have a historic marker to acknowledge her hometown roots and honor her connection to Oberlin College. So again, thanks to the Oberlin Heritage Center and to the other entities who helped make this happen. Thank you.
Hello. We bring you greetings on behalf of the City of Oberlin. We're very pleased to have been a part of making this tribute to Mary Burnett Talbert possible today. And it's hard to follow Claudia because she really put things so well about Mary Burnett Talbert. When I was looking a little bit about her today, the National Women's Hall of Fame mentioned that she's a civil rights, anti-lynching, suffragist, preservationist, international human rights proponent, and educator. And that made me think, yes, her roots are in Oberlin. She's a graduate of a liberal arts institution, and she went out from this community able to lead others and be a leader and an example in her life. We as a city last year in 2020 had a proclamation that recognized that year as the year of women's suffrage. And at that time, we mentioned her in our proclamation. And I'd like to read just the sections that particularly pertain to her. In 1950, the Ohio Women's Convention was chaired by Oberlin College alumna abolitionist, education and women's rights reformer Betsy Mix Cowles, and a letter was read to the convention from prominent women's suffrage activist and Oberlin College alumna Lucy Stone. She's not mentioned there, but in 1867, several Oberlin citizens petitioned the U.S. government to extend women the right of suffrage, and in April 1870, 150 Oberlin citizens formed a women's suffrage association. And in the 1880s, Oberlin College graduates Anna Julia Cooper, scholar and educator, Mary Church Terrell, founder and president of the National Association of Colored Women, and Mary Burnett Talbert, a founder of the NAACP and 6th president of the National Association of Colored Women, extended the struggle for suffrage not just to the rights of women, but also to African Americans still disenfranchised. And in 1950, the Oberlin News took a pro-suffrage stance, and Mary Burnett Talbert and Mary Church Terrell spoke at Votes for Women, a symposium by leading thinkers of colored America, which took place in Washington, D.C. And on June 16, 1919, Ohio was among the first 10 states to ratify the 19th Amendment on the state level. While commemorating the passage of the 19th Amendment, we recognize that it was part of an ongoing struggle for full suffrage for all, requiring registration like the Voting Rights Act of 1965 to overcome barriers of race and national origin, and that we still require an Equal Rights Amendment to ensure full equality for people of all genders. So we stand on the shoulders of those who have gone before us and fought many of the battles before us, yet we still have work that lies ahead to carry on the traditions that they have defined.
Thank you to all of my fellow presenters and to all of you for coming. I invite you now to walk up the block safely underneath the scaffolding that was just put up last night or so, and join us in front of the marker for the unveiling. And if you aren't able to come to that, or if you can, please return for fellowship, and as I said, lemonade. We love to chat. This is a wonderful group of people here who all came together for this occasion. So please start making your way north to the marker.
Thank you very much for witnessing this. This is Claudia Jones of the NAACP. So whenever you are ready, Claudia.